Coach Pablo Mastoeni. Let's begin with questions here in the room, and then we'll transition to a couple via Zoom. So let's start here.
Pablo, not the way you wanted to go out, but anytime you come into BMO Stadium, it seems like a difficult test. Was there something about LAFC tonight that was particularly challenging?
Again, I think they're a very good team. I think they were self-inflicted wounds, decisions. First goal in transition, which is something that we've been really good off of on set pieces. Second goal, was a tough play, and I think when you shoot yourself in the foot like that, it's going to be very difficult to win here. Thought we played well in the first half and created some really good opportunities. And again, the game of football is about moments and capitalizing on those moments. We didn't do that in the first half, and they did that in the second half.
Hi, Pablo. Just on that topic, you say you played very well in the first half. Teams seemed to settle in, but then the second half, goals started coming for LAFC. What was that difference between the first and the second half?
It wasn't. I don't think you throw the whole half into it. Again, the game of soccer is about moments, right? And when you concede the first goal, it's not a problem. I think the second goal is a problem, and it starts to affect you psychologically, right? You know you're up. You know you have to play a near flawless game here to get a result, right? And I think this goals and the reason why the game is about moments, excuse me, is because goals change the psychology of the player, right? And so emotionally, you're at a deficit. You're in a bad way after you concede the second goal the way we did, right? And that's human. That's not football. And I think then what happens is then LA builds momentum, builds a ton of belief. They feel like they're on the front foot. And we conceded that second goal. It was almost like felt sorry for ourselves a little bit, and that's why goals change games, and that's why moments are the most important things. Halves come and go, but it's really about moments that affect the psychology of the player.
We'll take a question here in the back and then transition to it.
Hey, Coach, can you talk a little bit about Leagues Cup and your club's experience in this? It's obviously the first year that's happened. You've seen several League MX teams now. Just your thoughts overall on Leagues Cup?
Yeah, no, I think it's been a very good tournament. I think it's always great to see where you're at, not only with interleague competition but with Mexican teams. I think they've been we were in a tough group, and the guys did well. And whilst there's a lot of positives to take from the games we played and the way the Mexican teams played, I think we obviously have a ways to go to be a top team. And I think experiences like this are important to learn from. But I think overall the tournament's been fun to watch as a fan of the game. It's been fun to be on the field and see all the different teams and the way they compete and the different styles of play. And unfortunately, we left the tournament not the way we wanted to, but it's football, and now the onus is on us to really tighten things up and get back to league play.
Hey, Pablo, I just want to ask you about two players that used to play here, Danny Mastroeni and Chicharron. I know you had some limited time with them. But what have you learned from those players? Because we've seen them score goals and be very passionate with the fans and all that. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, no, they've been two great additions to our team. I think I think to be a winning team, it's really important to have winners on your team, right? And their experiences have definitely influenced the group to the good. They've been playing really, really well, and they're hardworking, super talented, and team players. So it's been a real joy to add both those guys to our group. And unfortunately tonight wasn't the best night for really anyone on our team, but I think the most important thing is all the positives that they bring to our group and the level of belief they bring to our group. And so really look forward to continuing to integrate Chicho in, and they've been a great player.
So, two questions here in the front.
Pablo, buenas noches. Bueno, definitivamente la forma no es como querías terminar este torneo. En lo personal, ¿qué considera usted que falló en la táctica, en lo futbolístico? y en contraparte, ¿qué deja para Real Sole, los jugadores, esta experiencia de Leagues Cup enfrentando equipos mexicanos?
Sí, yo creo que esta noche no fue tema táctica, fue dos momentos raros. Un contragolpe de un tiro libre de nosotros, no lo defendimos bien, y el segundo gol fue un error, y eso es fútbol, ¿no? O sea, podemos hablar de las tácticas, pero cuando te meten no goles así es muy difícil ganar cualquier partido. Pero yo creo que para nosotros fue una buena experiencia para el grupo, para saber dónde estamos como equipo y también individualmente jugando con equipo grande de México, para los jugadores que sepan que el nivel donde queremos llegar es todavía un poco alto, pero yo creo que con un poco más trabajo y confianza podemos llegar.
Hey, Pablo. LAFC has seemed to come back from their little break looking like the LAFC of old. And I'm just wondering, when LAFC is at its level, how good are they? Do they become the team to beat in this?
Yeah, listen, I think there's no secret that they're one of the best in this league, and they continuously prove that year in, year out. You know, I think tonight, like I said earlier, it's not a team that needs help, right, to win games, right? And I think tonight, in our first two goals, and then again on our fourth goal, we just can't do them any favors, right? They're too good of a team to help them in. But again, I think the first half we did a really good job of not only defending but creating some really good opportunities. And you score one of those goals, it's a different game. Unfortunately, tonight wasn't our night. But there's a lot of there's a lot of good lessons to learn from this game, and as a group, we've got to dust off and keep moving forward.
Let's take some more in the room before we transition to Zoom.
¿Qué tal, Pablo? Bien, hablabas de ese nivel de los equipos mexicanos a los que se busca llegar, pero cuando volteamos a ver ahorita el torneo, sorprende que hay más equipos de MLS, no tantos de Liga MX, que han llegado a estas instancias. ¿Qué piensas al respecto? ¿Es más el formato del torneo o simplemente cosas del fútbol?
No, yo creo que es muy difícil jugar de visitante cuando estás jugando equipos que están en tu liga. Yo creo que jugar de visitante en otro país es otro tema. Estoy sorprendido en el nivel que están jugando los equipos mexicanos. Pasar un mes fuera de casa en otro país es muy difícil. Y por eso, si los equipos de MLS juegan en México, me imagino que va a ser las cosas. O sea, muy difícil para el equipo de MLS jugar en México por un mes contra equipo grande. Y pues a lo mejor el año que viene lo vamos a hacer, no sé. Pero para mí es una gran experiencia, para los muchachos también, jugar contra equipo grande de México. Y la semana pasada jugamos contra León, que es el campeón de CONCACAF, y jugamos bastante bien. Hoy día nos tocó perder el partido, pero el esfuerzo fue lindo y pues fallamos en 2 o 3 jugadas, pero así es el fútbol.
Pablo, one more from me here. What did you see from Chicho coming into the game? Was he emotionally any different than you'd seen him before? And what did you make of the way LAFC defended him? Did they do anything interesting?
I think it's always tough to come back home. I think everyone thinks, you come back home, you want to really show them that, but again, I think as human beings, it doesn't work like that. You come to a place where you have this affinity for your fans, where you won a championship, and, obviously the way he lived that moment, after the game in the championship, it's very difficult to come back. For as much as you think it's easy, you have a heavy heart, and so I think it was a tough game, in particular because I don't think we threatened their back line enough tonight. I think we played underneath them, and it just made it really easy for their front six to really defend us. And a couple times we did threaten behind, we were dangerous. And so Those are things that we'll look at. It was, you know, and obviously they know Chicho's quality. I don't think we got him on the ball enough tonight. But again, I think there's a lot of emotional, a lot of emotions at play with Chicho. But again, fantastic player, and just so grateful to have him with us.
We'll finish up with 2 questions on Zoom. First off, John Lupo.
Pablo, I would pretty much agree with what you just said. So I also thought that sometimes when you got the ball into the final third, I didn't think that it was good enough. I didn't think there was enough quality there. And it's the little things. I remember we spoke about that to some degree pre-match, just, you know, turning the ball over, giving it to them in certain areas. I just thought that those were some of maybe the little aspects of the match that turned out to be pretty big that led directly to their goals.
Yeah, no, you're right, John. I think again, just looking at the first goal we conceded, it was off of one of our attacking set pieces. We recovered the ball, and then we played into, you know, we played centrally, and we turned the ball over in a real dangerous spot. Again, they're a fantastic counter-attacking team. I think Boanga is one of the most prolific in open spaces. Again, we had a couple moments to defend it, but again, his quality really came through in those moments. And I agree with you. I think we were a bit impatient at times with the ball, especially in the final third. I think we could have worked them over a little bit more. But again, I think they did a really good job of really putting pressure on us. And when they did, they were rewarded with a turnover. So again, from a mentality standpoint, it drives you to keep doing that. And the onus is on us to flip the script. If they're going to come out and press and move their line high, we've got to threaten behind. And we just didn't do that enough tonight.
And the last question by Orlando Casela.
Gracias, buenas noches para todos, buenas noches, profe Pablo Orlando, que está en el Servicio Informativo de Deportes. ¿Con qué te vas, con qué te quedas de lo que viste el día de hoy en este partido que se llevaron esa derrota tan dolorosa el día de hoy?
Pues como toda la derrota son difíciles, yo creo que tuvimos un buen plan para sacar un resultado en este partido, pero como dije antes, cuando regalar 2 goles de posiciones, cuando tenés ventaja, cuando tenés el balón y lo perdimos en posiciones favorables para el rival, el partido se hace complicado. Y yo creo que después del segundo gol, la mentalidad no salió del equipo y también ganaron con confianza con cada gol, pero para mí es un aprendizaje. Cada partido aprende un poco del rival, pero más de uno mismo, y yo creo que tenemos mucho trabajo para hacer en los próximos 10 días, para prepararnos contra otro gran equipo en Los Ángeles, y para mí eso es lo que saqué del partido.
Thank you, Coach, for your time.
Thank you.
Give us a couple minutes. We'll have LAFC head coach Steve